Some YouTubers make more money in a month than some doctors make in an entire year, while others, they're out there barely making ends meet. And what path are you on? Are you on the path of $1 million YouTuber, or are you struggling to get by? Well, hopefully we can help you make more money from the views that you're getting in today's episode. All right, welcome back to the Video Creator Show, everybody. My name is Augie Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Grant Ball. And on this podcast, we talk about all things YouTube. So Grant, first question right here. There's a YouTuber. He's getting 1 million views a month. He's got 100,000 subscribers, and he works full time. Does he have enough there with 100,000 subscribers and 1 million views a month to quit his day job and do YouTube full time?
Almost certainly not. The only exception to that rule would be if this YouTuber is an incredible business person. Maybe they have a business that the YouTube channel feeds into. They sell some kind of product that's relevant to their channel. You know, I've seen like makeup channels, and if you started your own makeup line and you were pushing your audience towards that, something like that, then it's possible you could be making good money with 1 million views a month. But most of the time, with most of the people, 1 million views a month, that's like maybe part-time job money. Maybe.
Okay. So that'd be a great side hustle for somebody working a full-time job. They got this YouTube channel that they're making money off of through what we're talking about here, what you basically described as AdSense, right? That, you know, they could do it if they had a whole business behind it, right? You kind of had that caveat there, but basically you were just talking about AdSense. Am I right before I keep going here?
Mostly AdSense, yeah. Like you could get sponsorships with that kind of money, but the sponsorships probably, they'll pay okay. They'll pay decent. Like again, it's part-time job money for sure.
Okay. Well, I have a fact here that AdSense is often less than 50% of a creator's income. The money comes from other streams. So why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of information on how people can make money on YouTube besides just from the ad revenue, AdSense, that they get for the views? What are some other ways? You already mentioned sponsorships.
Sure. So sponsorships are big, right? Just working with a brand. We've all seen the ExpressVPN sponsorships, things like that. There's also live streaming and donations that come through that. That's potentially a huge source of revenue for creators. Of course, having a store, kind of like I mentioned earlier, that the YouTube channel feeds into. Maybe you're selling t-shirts, you're selling mugs, you're selling probably something more interesting than that if you're making good money. Other things, there are affiliate links, so that's also a big thing. Let's say you're a photographer with a YouTube channel or you do cinematography, and that's why people watch you. A lot of people in that niche will link their Amazon or their gear on Amazon with affiliate links. So anytime somebody buys a really expensive camera, that YouTuber gets a cut of that, as long as the viewer click that link before buying the camera, right? So affiliate marketing is a really big deal. That's a huge way that YouTubers make money. It's also relatively passive, right? You know, once you release the video and the links are there, like people will, like 5, 7, 10 years later, people might still be clicking those links. So something to be aware of. Those are like the main types of revenue. There are definitely other ones, but those are kind of the big ones that I wanted to touch on.
Okay. And just to add to that, like affiliate links, right? Like for Amazon products and stuff like that, I think you're getting somewhere from like 1% to 2% commission. Someone clicks the link and they go and they buy. But different affiliate programs offer like 50% commission, right? Like some software affiliate programs offer like 50% or 40% commission for life, like as long as that referral keeps renewing. So you can really build up, you know, a nice little income if you have these people clicking your affiliate links for years and they're using the product for years and it's just compounding. So a lot of people do make good money. But let's go back to the sponsorship part, because I know you've done that before. You've actually had businesses sponsor some of your videos on Treesicle. I know it was years ago, but like, let's give the people that are listening right now an idea of how much can they charge for sponsorships? How much money can they actually make from these things by saying, hey, go to ExpressVPN or whatever they are? What's the money looking like?
So our rate was $1,000 was $3,000 for every 100,000 views that we expected the video to get. And that was essentially just our baseline. So most of our videos at the time were getting 100,000 views plus. So we were getting generally like 3,000 minimum for a sponsorship. It would go as high as maybe 5,000, which, pretty good money, gotta say. And yeah, sponsorships are huge. Like, there's such a good way to make money. And again, so it was 3,000 per 100,000 views. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that was a few years ago, so I'm sure the rate might be up a little bit even. But I guess that's a good baseline that people can go off of. Just know that you're going to get lowballed. There's going to be negotiations and all that kind of stuff. But that's a good idea to set your price, and then I think that's a good way for brands to do that too. So okay, CPMs. Okay, CPMs. Let's talk a little bit of CPMs right now. So that means cost per 1,000 impressions. A view is essentially an impression. Showing somebody an ad is an impression, but we'll just say a view is an impression. So kind of the baseline or the standard is, depending on what niche you're in, you're going to get anywhere from $2 for 1,000 views all the way up to like $20 for 1,000 views. So shed some light, Grant, a little bit on kind of CPMs, maybe in the gaming niche, in the business niche, and how does that even work?
Sure. So mainly CPM is determined by two things. The first one is what niche you're in. So for instance, if you are a car channel and YouTube is putting a lot of car advertisements on your videos, those tend to pay quite well. So you're probably going to be closer to the 20 CPM range. Of course, like luxury watches, anything luxury is also like, the ads are always going to mimic whatever your channel is, right? Because YouTube just knows that, like, it knows what to show your viewers. And if they're watching your car videos, they're probably going to want to buy a car. You know what I mean? Ads that you would expect to pay well always pay higher. The second thing that determines how well you get paid through ads is how family friendly you are or not. If you're swearing a lot, you're just not going to make as much money. Like, that is something I definitely experienced. Definitely would have made a lot more money if I wasn't so edgy. So, but I have no regrets, but it is the truth. We probably, being in the video game niche and covering a lot of Nintendo games, would have been closer to the 20 CPM range. And instead, we were between like maybe 7 and 10. Like, it just was, we're essentially making half or less compared to what we could have been making. But got to be authentic, right?
Okay, well, I have to say, Grant, you're kind of putting a pretty bleak and grim message on how much can you actually make as a YouTuber. You're saying 100,000 subscribers and 1 million views a month, not enough to quit your job. And then, that could go either way, because you have some caveats there too. Like, if you're running the channel, if you're fully monetizing that channel, then right. Yeah, I think we both would agree you could, right?
You could totally quit your job. It's just like, what's your overhead? Are you living in a studio? Do you have a family? Like, what's your mortgage? I think most people, if you're not willing to live an artist lifestyle, or at least something kind of like that, 1 million views a month, like, you can totally do it. But I would consider it part-time job money if you're trying to like save for the future and maybe go on vacation, whatever it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I agree. To me, it's more about the risk. Like, dude, if 100,000 subscribers, 1 million views, like, just depends on what niche you're in and what your business is behind it. Because if you are selling some high ticket thing on the back end, some consulting, right? Like business consulting, you're charging like $10,000 a month to companies or something, like, oh yeah, that's you can make a killing, right? You can make a killing with that channel. But I will say as well that there's risk, right? Like if you're going to quit your job and go like that, like, dude, one change on YouTube the next year and you could lose all your money. Like adpocalypse, or just your views start going down, right? Like, this is organic viewership. It's not like ads where you can just turn the button on and off. like it's organic. So you're at the mercy of the algorithms. So that's, to me, is there's a lot of risk. So hey,
Yep.
should we kind of start telling people, not us, but maybe on this episode, tell them flat out, like, hey, YouTube's not going to make you rich?
I think that's a good mindset to have. Like, it might make you rich. It's like the gold rush, right? But I think if you're in that mindset of I want YouTube to make me rich, you're probably not going to have the patience to actually get rich off of YouTube. And even if you're very successful on YouTube, like I was, we had a team of 4 people, and again, like a lot of kind of swearing and adult humor. Like, it depends what you're doing. But like, I didn't get rich. I would have made more money working most normal jobs. I having a college degree, and I would have been working like a desk job essentially. I would have made more for sure than I would have splitting the revenue with the other 3 members of my team. And that's just kind of the reality of it. And of course, if you are only one person and you were getting 3 to 4 million views a month, like I was, that is, you would have made a lot more money. I would have been making like 120 grand a year if it was only me. But it wasn't only me. So, it's like, that's the reality of it. Is it depends what you're in, and it's probably not going to make you rich. And if you are desperate to get rich off YouTube, like I've seen it, like it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah, this is a good time for me to kind of talk about my viewpoint on and how I see the whole thing. Is like, can you get rich and go to the NBA and make the millions? Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, you know, same with YouTube. The top, 1%ers, oh yeah, they're going to do it, but they're special. They're 7 foot, not on YouTube, but they have great camera presence. Like, let's make it sound like a YouTube thing here. They got great camera presence. They are great storytellers. They are elite with soft boxes and cameras and microphones and all the tech. Their work ethic is insane. If you have all the pieces, then yeah, you can do it. You can be a 1%er, but for the majority of people, no, they're not. And also, for like kind of your situation, Grant, like I feel like you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys came into it more like, hey, let's do this project. Let's start a YouTube channel. Let's see if we can grow it. Where a lot of other people are more like, okay, we have this product and we need to sell it. And it's more backwards. And so the reverse engineering. So when it comes to monetization, right, you guys didn't have some master monetization plan. You guys were doing the typical YouTube journey of sponsorships and AdSense, and
Right.
which is challenging. It's
It
challenging.
is challenging. And we tried to do merchandise, but it's hard to sell t-shirts, man. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people are selling t-shirts.
Hey, for real. I mean, this might sound like a grandiose scheme, but like, imagine if you guys came out with your own video game and then started covering it, or like if there's something to sell. I think some people are kind of starting the YouTube channel with already have the product, and some people are just starting the YouTube channel to create something really cool, see if they can turn it into some income, which you guys obviously did a great job and blew up a whole channel. So back to this 1% thing. So what are the steps that somebody needs to do in order to make a full-time income on YouTube? Like what are the steps?
Well, step one is get views. Like, I think that's the most important focus early on, is just getting exposure. Because if you're not getting views, like, it's going to be way harder to make money. Then step two is, what does your channel look like? Like, once you have an audience, let's say you're getting even 10,000 views a video, right? Nothing crazy, but like impressive still. So what does your channel look like? What do you cover? Like, depending on your niche. So let's say you are in the makeup niche, or you're in maybe something like the videography niche. You could make a course and on how do you shoot videos, like what all the angles, all the equipment, all the this, all the that. Create your masterclass and sell it to your audience. And you're going to want to price that class very high. It should probably be at least a few $100s. The idea being, most people will not buy the class, but the people who do will be able to afford it. And that becomes passive income. You're just kind of always mentioning it in your videos. And I think creating something unique that is specific to you and your channel and your experience that not only you are interested in, but your audience will be interested in, that is probably the easiest way to create passive income, or at the very least to monetize your channel. Sell something that you create yourself. And then, like, obviously, you'll cross the monetization threshold, then you can just turn on ads. So you'll sort of passively get income through YouTube ad revenue by doing that. And then sponsorships, usually the way that works is once you reach a certain amount of notoriety on YouTube, companies will just email you. Sometimes middlemen will email you, and they'll be like, "Hey, if you work with me, like any sponsor I bring to you, I'll take 20%, but I'll negotiate for you, and you don't really have to do anything on that front." In my opinion, sponsorships usually just they sort of they happen. You get emails, like they come to you. You don't really have to seek them out. So that's like pretty straightforward. And then live streaming, of course, just get donations. If people like you, they'll donate. If you do some like cool challenge, then people are probably more likely to donate. But that's kind of my rundown on how to properly monetize a YouTube channel.
Very nice. And I would say that for me, with the business mind and stuff, like the number one thing you need to do when trying to start a business with a YouTube channel is build an email list, right? Like day one, you should have something figured out where people can click the link in the description to get some other video or whatever, and enter their email address to do that, because that newsletter is traffic that you own, meaning you own your email list and you can mail out to your email list new videos, products, promotions, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of like digital marketing 101. It's important to build that email list. So start thinking about what kind of free thing you can give away at the link in your description, and that should help when it comes time to sell a product. But yeah, it's work, man. It's work building the email list. You got to email out to it. And yeah, so besides like that one just popped into my head as far as like a mistake that a lot of people make is they don't build an email list. Any other mistakes pop into your head when it comes to kind of like monetizing on YouTube?
I think a big one that you already mentioned is relying on ad revenue. Like, you really don't want to rely on that. You want some kind of back end to really be able to fall back on if you have like a hard month view wise. Because yeah, if you're relying on ad revenue, you're gambling every time. Like, every video is a gamble. If it gets 1 million views, then you get paid. If it gets 100 views, then you don't. You don't want to gamble. You want consistency when it comes to income. So I think that's the biggest mistake, is just relying on ad revenue.
Yeah, and for me and like my journey, like my channel, I was making okay money. It was good. It was teacher salary money. I would say the majority of it did come from me selling the basketball training products, not the AdSense. But it was all organic traffic, right? So this was all, me getting 500,000 views in a month, and a lot of people clicking that link, entering my email list, purchasing products, stuff like that, right? Okay, so I'm saying when you're making double from your YouTube channel as you are in your day job, quit, go all in. What's one sign that you would say? What's a benchmark or something that you would say, Grant?
I would say if it feels right. Like, of course, if you have a family, like, there's a lot of practical things to consider here. But ultimately, if the momentum feels good, if you feel like the momentum needs to be good, and I think you need to have a plan. You need to have something that works and is currently working, and then be willing to focus on that.
Yeah, that's great advice. Have a plan, then at least you can execute the plan, and you're putting your best foot forward. So thank you guys so much for watching today's episode on how much YouTubers actually make and how they make money. If you like today's episode, please hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on an audio platform, really appreciate if you hit follow there so you can get our next episode as well. With that said, we will catch you guys in the next episode.